Great day of new beginnings. I pray this message finds you well, and if perchance it finds you off kilter or not operating optimally, just know that this too shall pass and everything will work out for your good. So, I saw a phenomenal post by Namaste Moore, and she was talking about multi generational wealth, the code. And she was talking about legacy and our children and purpose, and I started thinking of some things, and what I'm going to share will help you in some way on your journey as I've been helped as well. And as a parent, I've been very intentional and very honed in on some things. I was very much had a heightened sensitivity to making sure I was their first teacher and making sure that I get ahead of education and that understanding I'm responsible, not the system, even though the system does have the responsibility to carry out their duties. I've also always focused on, having good character and being a good neighbor and making sure that you are the leader and not the follower, and that you tap into the guide within. So you're making sure that you're following what you know, and making best decisions. I was also always talking about being kind. And one thing I was not focused on sharing or giving or passing on back then was generational wealth. I was not tapped into that. As a matter of fact, my thought process back then was I'm young enough that I can always make more money and I can save and leave money. I was also of the thought that, well, my children would be fine. When they grow up, they'll have good jobs. But it was an erroneous thought to even not take seriously the power of generational wealth. And so there are different ways to go about that. I won't get into all of them. I am not a financial planner, but I do understand the power of insurance. I do understand having assets that add to our bottom line and our generational wealth. I do understand the power of having the private crypto wallet, and besides the insurance, also having assets like real estate, lots of things, and you can figure out your own path. But the point is, if we don't set up our families for generational wealth, what's going to happen when we die? And oftentimes we wait until we die to pass something on to our children. And sometimes they need it right now so that they can maneuver in a way that helps them to be successful, but that there's a foundation so that life isn't as hard as it needs to be. And so, if there's one thing I would roll back, it would be tapping into generational wealth and legacy earlier. But there's still time, and I'm in the mode of teaching and sharing even now. And so I thought, why not share it with all of us, because it is important. And let's just be frank about it. The world has changed, times have changed, and as we look at generational wealth, we have to start with purpose. We have to look at what we were created to do. And one thing that we always ask children, and I'm guilty, I do it as an educator: what do you want to be when you grow up? And the more I look at that question, it's making them create or come up with something that they really don't have a grasp of things external to themselves. And so maybe a better look would be, look at who they are and help cultivate who they are. What are their natural gifts and skills? And that will help us to prepare a foundation of opportunity, putting them in villages that will help them grow and help to stretch them, and help pour into them. And we won't always get it right. 100% of the time, we will not be, moving on 1,000 years. But if we still have breath in our body, any missteps We have the chance to fix, to support, to give, to educate, to teach, and not just our children, but wherever we are. It's important that we share nuggets because our community are many times the last to hear it. And so, in talking about generational wealth and purpose, I want to make sure that we are leading our kids in what does 2050 even look like? And so we should research what will life be like in 2050? Because if we talk about 2030, we're kind of late. So if we're looking at 2050, what will life be like? And as they go to college and as they try to figure out what they want to do in life, and we help them operate in their purpose, we have to see where the world will be. And so if we're missing the boat of AI, we're already lost, we're already behind, and we're going to be in a very difficult situation if we're trying to maneuver and we haven't tapped into that. So, even as a business owner, as a leader, you can now be a one man show. And I'm not advocating not to have staff. I'm not advocating not to have community. I'm not saying you should do it all on your own. But what I am saying is AI has made it possible for us to execute things that used to take a long time, lots of people to do. So, in helping our children tap into their purpose, we need to first look at those things that they're naturally inclined at. We need to look at who they are as a person and nurture that. We need to look at how AI is going to impact that. We need to look at what jobs will be here. And then, as we do that research, to lead them in ways that will help them be fulfilled and to leave a lasting impact and legacy. And as we look at future and legacy, we have to make sure that we're giving them the foundation that they need. Because what if we just live our lives and we die? We haven't prepared our children to live in the future. We have not given them the tools, the opportunities. And let me be clear, I am not saying that college is the way. I am also not saying that college is not the way. I'm saying it depends on your purpose, your goals, their purpose, their goals, as to what that looks like. And so it may not be a 4 year college. To be honest, that's no longer the necessity to be successful. It may be training, it may be getting a coach, it may be going to a class, going to a workshop, it may be college. But whatever it is, let's figure out the mode to get there and not be so narrow in the mode to help them to get to that destination because things have changed. Let's also remember that if we die and our legacy does not continue, it's like, why? What were we here for? What was the point if we were just here, we lived, we died, and that was it? Like, I don't want to be here just to live. I don't want to be here just to survive. I don't want to survive from day to day. It's so much going on. I don't I can be consumed. I don't allow myself to with the news, with this story and that story, and the political arena, and what the leader of the White House is doing. And so that could give me pause, and it had. Just being 1,000, it had given me pause on some things that I know I'm supposed to do. I know what my purpose is. I know what I'm supposed to carry out. I know who I'm called to. I know who I'm supposed to serve. And I started saying, oh, but if this happens, if they're impacted by this and then they don't have the income that they need for that, then maybe I just shouldn't be looking. Maybe that's too lofty a goal. Oh, so what I'm really saying is, so life might be hard. And so I should just sit down and not do what I'm called to do. Why am I here? And so if God has given you a desire, if God has put something on your heart that you know you're supposed to do, it doesn't matter what the climate is. Now you have to be smart in how you execute that thing, but you are supposed to do that thing. If you have that on the inside, that's where you're supposed to go. And it doesn't matter what the news, what's going, who agrees, who disagrees. People don't see it because it looks hard. That doesn't make sense right now. People won't have the money for this. People won't have the money for that. If you are operating in your call, I promise the way will be made. It won't be an easy journey, but why come here just to survive? Why not seek to thrive? Why not really come here and do what you were created to do, children included? Like purpose, let's tap into who we are so we can do and be what we were created to be. And it won't matter what's going on in the world if we're operating in alignment. It matters what's going on in the world if we're feeding into a system that is not designed for us. If we're still trying to pull up our chairs to tables that we're not welcome to, if we're still trying to lean on people who may not care about you, if we're still trying to fall in line with something and we have to work twice as hard as everybody else, that means we're in the wrong system. Because when we're in the right system, we're going to have to work hard, but not to compete because you are one of a kind. There's nobody like you. So no one can execute and pour like you. So it's really important to tap into our purpose, to connect to AI, to make sure that our legacy continues, that our children are set up for good success. And that starts with not just asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? But it starts with acknowledging, identifying, understanding, and helping grow who they are, who they already are. Help them tap into those strengths and gifts and grow them so that later it's not never or extinct, so that your legacy continues on. And let me make this point, it doesn't mean that your children are going to do what you want them to do. Your legacy will continue if they are living their legacy and they're doing what they are called to do. Then your living and your work is not in vain. I love you. Let's stay connected. There are some phenomenal things coming out for women, the High Powered Women's Network, but I just want to make sure that you know the power that you have. You are beautiful, first of all. That's why everybody copies you. You are brilliant. That's why everything that you do, people are like, what? How did you do that? Because you have a brilliance inside of you. You have a resilience, which makes you not stop when things get hard. I mean, and we're a people of hard. But not only that, you are masterful. You are a masterful creation. There is not another person in the world like you. So go forth and be exactly who you were created to be. When people don't understand, when people criticize, when it doesn't make sense, it's not supposed to make sense because you were given the goal, you were given the dream, you were given the purpose. Now, make sure you share this with someone who uh, just probably needs a little push, and they're questioning their goals and their purpose and their future and their kids and, oh my God, what's going to happen? Send this so that they can stand in and know everything's going to be fine. And if I was given the purpose and the dream, it is going to be realized. But I got to put the work in. And my kids will be fine as long as I'm equipping them. And I am not relying on the system to educate, equip, and make sure they're good. I am not. I am using the system to help us reach our goals, but they are not ultimately responsible. I am. I love you. And you can feel free to click that link so that we can stay connected. Have a phenomenal rest of this is the beginning of the week. So have a phenomenal week and know that there is nothing that you can accomplish because you are brilliant, resilient, beautiful, powerful, and a masterful creation. Talk soon.